Alright, the last two videos were about inductive reasoning. So now 4.3 is on deductive reasoning. What's the difference? Well, remember inductive reasoning was when you look for a pattern and then you make like a general guess or conclusion. And remember that it could be wrong. So deductive reasoning is a little bit different. Deductive reasoning is a method of drawing conclusions from facts that we accept as true by using reasoning. So deductive reasoning conclusions are based on assumed facts, and these assumed facts are called premises. Now, if one of the premises has an error in it, then the final conclusion is not correct. But if the premises are correct, then the conclusion will be true. So you can have a lot of confidence when you use deductive reasoning that you got the correct answer, a correct conclusion, a true conclusion, as long as your premises are correct. So, for example, here's a little deductive reasoning for you. All math teachers are geniuses. Mr. Wodge is a math teacher. Therefore, Mr. Wodge is a genius. Okay, if we just look at the reasoning, is this good reasoning? Yeah, all math teachers are geniuses and Mr. Wodge is a math teacher. Therefore, Mr. Wodge is a genius. So this is great deductive reasoning. However, there's a problem here. What's the problem? This first statement, that's one of the premises. These first two statements here are premises. And the first statement about all math teachers being geniuses, I don't think that's true. I know myself and I know I'm not a genius, so this is not true. Therefore, even though the reasoning's correct, this would be a correct statement, therefore Mr. Wodge is a genius, except sadly, the first premise is not correct. In my opinion, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong and all math teachers are geniuses, and maybe your math teacher is a genius. Okay, very similar. We're going to go through some statements like that, and you're going to figure out whether we can conclude something, or if there's nothing to conclude, or whatever. So, all English teachers like to read. This is a statement. We're going to assume that this is true. It might not be true, but we're going to assume it's true. All English teachers like to read. Sam does not like to read. What does that mean about Sam? Well, if all English teachers like to read and Sam doesn't like to read, then I guess that Sam is not an English teacher. He couldn't be, right? Because all English teachers like to read and Sam doesn't like to read, so he could not be an English teacher. Next one. All English teachers like to read. Again, Judy likes to read. So you know what a lot of people say here? They say, Judy's an English teacher. Is that necessarily true? Is that absolutely positively true? No, there's lots of people who aren't English teachers who also like to read. I happen to be one of them. So in this statement, there's nothing you can say. Could Judy be an English teacher? Yeah, she could. But is it also possible she's not an English teacher? Yeah, it's possible too. So I guess you could say that she may or may not be an English teacher. Okay, next one. All English teachers like to read. Brian is an English teacher. Is there anything you can say about Brian? Yeah, there is. Every English teacher likes to read, and Brian's an English teacher. In other words, Brian likes to read. Next one. All English teachers like to read. Bruce is not an English teacher. Okay, so he's not an English teacher, so does that mean he doesn't like to read? No, we already talked about this. It's possible to not be an English teacher and still like to read. So again, this is a nothing. Bruce may or may not like to read. Okay. Second one, now we're talking about driver's licenses. A person must be 16 years old to have a driver's license. Tom has a driver's license. So, is there anything you can say about Tom? Yeah, there is. If Tom has a driver's license, Tom is 16 years old. Is that it? No, you could say Tom is at least 16 years old, or Tom is 16 years old or older. Right? We don't know for sure he's 16, but he's at least 16 because he has his driver's license. And you have to be 16 to have a driver's license. Okay, the next one. A person must be 16 years old to have a driver's license. Sue drives a car. Now, we could probably debate this one. Some of you might say, well, then Sue's definitely 16 years old. But is it possible that Sue drives without a driver's license? Yeah, this happens all the time. Sadly, people drive without driver's license. You go out to the prairies, apparently a lot of kids when they're 12, 13 years old are driving tractors and stuff around the farmyards and stuff. So, in fact, this statement, there's nothing you can say. She may or may not be 16, and she may or may not have a driver's license? I guess I should put have a driver's license. Okay, we can't say a person must be 16 years old to have a driver's license. Sally is 20 years old. Oh, that's older than 16. So does that mean Sally definitely has a driver's license? No. Many people never get driver's licenses or wait until they're 29 years old like my sister. Okay, so again, nothing. There's nothing you can say here. Sally may or may not have a driver's license. A person must be 16 years old to have a driver's license. Bill is 12 years old. Anything you can say for sure here? Yeah, definitely. You can say that Bill does not have a driver's license. Can you also say that Bill does not drive a car? No, 12-year-olds, it's physically possible for Bill to get behind the wheel and drive a car, but it's not possible for him to have a driver's license. A person must be 16 years old to have a driver's license. Len does not drive a car. So does that mean he's not 16? No, again, we talked about this before. Len could be 82 years old and stop driving a car. He could be 40 and never learn to drive a car or whatever. So nothing can be said here. He could be older or younger or exactly 16. We can't say anything about his age. True or false? If two angles are right angles, then they're equal. So think about a right angle. It's a 90-degree angle. If you have two angles and they're both right angles, are they equal? Yeah, absolutely. Right? Here's one right angle. Here's another right angle. This is 90. This is 90. They're equal to each other. That amount in there is the angle, and it's equal to that amount in there. If two angles are equal, then they are right angles. Well, these are equal, so does that mean all equal angles are right angles? No. You could have two angles. Here's an angle that's, I don't know, 30 degrees, and here's another angle that's 30 degrees. These angles are equal to each other, and they're not right angles, so this is a no. If two angles are not right angles, then they are not equal. So in other words, is it possible that two angles are not right angles, so they don't look like this, and for them to be equal? Yeah, we just did that here. It's the same thing. So no, this is not true either. You could have, I don't know, some big 120 degrees and another 120 degrees here, or whatever. So just because they're not right angles doesn't mean they're not equal. And the last one, if two angles are not equal, then they are not right angles. Okay, let me think of that again. If two angles are not equal, so they're not equal, does that mean they're not right angles? Well, true. It doesn't mean that they're both not right angles, right? That wouldn't be possible for them both to be right angles, because then you'd have this situation up here, and they'd be equal to each other. But is it possible for one of them to be a right angle? Sure. You could have one angle that's 90 degrees and another one that's 84 or something very close to it. Those two angles are not equal, and they're not right angles. They're not both right angles. True, but one could be a right angle. And if that's not what they mean, if they mean, I'm not clear what this question means, but if they mean if two angles are not equal and that neither one is a right angle, well, sure, that's no problem too. You could have one be 84 and one be 80 or whatever, right? Those aren't equal to each other and they're not right angles as well. So either way, this is a true one. This is a not true, a yes. We're doing yes or no or something like that. Okay, that's it. Another quick video for you on deductive reasoning. Very useful way to be thinking in the world because it gets you to correct answers. But remember, it relies on your premises being correct.